Kylie, I'm leaving you. I filed for divorce today. I love someone else. The words hit me like a slap across the face, disorienting me for a moment as I struggled to process what Todd had just said. What? You filed for divorce without telling me? I asked in disbelief, my voice shaking. How could he do this? Todd shrugged nonchalantly. I've moved out, and don't worry about the house, it's all taken care of. You're just not the wife I need anymore. My heart pounded in my chest, my anger and hurt swirling inside me like a raging storm. After 25 years of marriage, he was casually discarding me like yesterday's trash. I opened my mouth to respond, but the words caught in my throat. Todd's expression hardened. Look, I'm not going to argue about this. It's done. I've met someone new, someone who actually understands me. His callous dismissal stung, but it also ignited a fire within me. I wasn't going to let him off that easily. Who is she? I demanded, my voice steadier now. He hesitated for a moment, then sighed. Her name is Emily Reed. She's younger, more ambitious, and she actually supports my dreams. I recoiled as if he had physically struck me. Emily Reed. The name meant nothing to me, but the implication was clear. He had been having an affair behind my back, and now he was throwing away our marriage for this younger woman. Anger coursed through my veins, overriding the initial shock. How long has this been going on? I asked through gritted teeth. Todd shrugged again, his indifference only fueling my fury. A while. Look, I'm not going to stand here and justify myself to you. It's over, Kylie. Accept it and move on. With those words, he turned and walked away, leaving me standing in the middle of our living room, numb with disbelief and rage. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to lash out at the injustice of it all, but I found myself paralyzed, unable to do anything but watch as the life I had known crumbled around me. As the front door slammed shut behind Todd, a single thought crystallized in my mind. I would not let him get away with this. I would find out the truth, and I would make him pay for what he had done to me, to us. The war had just begun. After Todd left, I sank onto the couch, my mind racing. How had I not seen this coming? As the initial shock wore off, memories began to surface. The late nights at the office, the unexplained absences, the distance that had grown between us over the years. Had it all been leading up to this moment? I thought back to my dreams of becoming an architect, how I had put them on hold to start a family with Todd. At the time, it had seemed like the right choice, but now I couldn't help but wonder if I had sacrificed too much. The sound of my phone ringing jolted me out of my thoughts. It was Leslie, my best friend from college. We had drifted apart over the years, but she had always been there for me when I needed her. Kylie, is everything okay? You sound upset. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my voice. It's Todd. He filed for divorce. Says he's been having an affair with some younger woman named Emily Reed. There was a pause on the other end of the line. Oh, Kylie, I'm so sorry. That must be devastating. I felt tears welling up in my eyes. I never saw it coming. How could I have been so blind? Don't blame yourself, Leslie said firmly. This is on him, not you. He made the choice to betray your trust and throw away your marriage. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. You're right, and I'm not going to let him get away with it. What do you mean? I'm going to find out everything I can about this Emily Reed, and I'm going to make sure Todd pays for what he's done, I said, my voice hardening with resolve. Leslie hesitated. Kylie, I understand you're hurting, but revenge isn't going to make you feel better in the long run. Maybe not, I admitted, but I can't just sit back and let him walk all over me. I need to do something. There was a pause, and then Leslie sighed. All right, just be careful, okay? Don't do anything reckless. I won't, I promised, even though I wasn't entirely sure what I was capable of at that moment. After hanging up with Leslie, I sat for a long time, staring at the wall, replaying the events of the day in my mind. Todd's words echoed in my head, each one a knife twisting in my heart. As the anger and hurt swirled inside me, I made a decision. I was going to find out everything I could about this Emily Reed, and I was going to make sure Todd paid for what he had done to me, to our family. It was time to take action. Over the next few days, I became consumed by the need to uncover the truth about Todd's affair. I scoured his email and bank records, looking for any clues that might lead me to this mysterious Emily Reed. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of searching, I struck gold. a charge for a fancy restaurant downtown, one that Todd and I had never been to. I recognized the name and address immediately. It had to be where he was meeting her. That night, I waited outside the restaurant, my heart pounding in my chest. I wasn't sure what I was going to do or say when I saw them together, but I knew I needed to confront them, to see it with my own eyes. Sure enough, just after 8 o'clock, Todd's car pulled up, and he emerged, looking sharp in a suit and tie. A few moments later, a younger woman joined him, her arm linked through his. My stomach twisted into knots as I realized this must be Emily Reed. They disappeared inside the restaurant, and I waited, my anger and hurt simmering just below the surface. After what felt like an eternity, they finally emerged, laughing and holding hands. I steeled myself and stepped out from the shadows. So this is her, huh? The woman you threw away our marriage for? Todd froze, his expression shifting from shock to anger in an instant. Kylie, what the hell are you doing here? I think the better question is, what are you doing with her? I spat, gesturing towards Emily, who looked utterly bewildered. Kylie, this isn't what it looks like, Todd began, but I cut him off. Save it, Todd. I know exactly what this is. You've been having an affair, and now you're leaving me for this girl. Emily's eyes widened, and she looked at Todd in disbelief. Is that true? You're married? Todd sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. It's complicated, Emily. Kylie and we've been over for a long time. Don't feed her those lies, I snarled. We were fine until you decided to throw it all away for a pretty face. Emily shook her head, her expression a mixture of hurt and anger. You know what? I don't want any part of this. She turned and stormed off, leaving Todd and me alone on the sidewalk. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then Todd rounded on me, his eyes blazing with fury. Are you happy now, Kylie? You've ruined everything as usual. I stepped closer, my hands balled into fists at my sides. Don't you dare try to pin this on me, Todd. You're the one who betrayed our vows, our family. You're the one who threw it all away for a fling with some younger woman. Todd scoffed, shaking his head. You just don't get it, do you? This isn't about Emily, it's about you and me. We've been miserable for years, and you were too blind to see it. His words stung, but I refused to back down. Well, congratulations, Todd. You've made your bed, and now you can lie in it. Alone. With that, I turned and walked away, leaving him standing there on the sidewalk. As I climbed into my car, tears streamed down my face, but I also felt a sense of relief. Relief that I had finally seen the truth, and relief that I had taken the first step towards getting the justice I deserved. The battle lines had been drawn, and I was ready for war. In the aftermath of my confrontation with Todd and Emily, I found myself retreating into a dark place. The sense of betrayal and anger burned like a fire inside me, clouding my thoughts and consuming my every waking moment. It was during this time that Leslie reached out to me again. We hadn't spoken since before my discovery of Todd's affair, and her call was a welcome reprieve from the turmoil that had become my life. Kylie, how are you holding up? She asked, her voice laced with concern. I sighed heavily. Not great, if I'm being honest. I caught Todd with the other woman, and it was ugly. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. That must have been devastating. You have no idea, I replied bitterly. The things he said to me, the way he tried to justify his actions, it was like I didn't even know him anymore. There was a pause on the other end of the line, and then Leslie spoke again, her tone more hesitant this time. Kylie, there's something else I need to tell you. My heart sank. What is it? I recently started seeing someone new. His name is David, and he's been wonderful, but... I felt a knot forming in the pit of my stomach. But what? There have been some red flags, Leslie continued. Little things that remind me of how Todd used to treat you. I'm worried I might be walking into another toxic situation. My blood ran cold. The thought of my best friend going through the same kind of hell I was enduring was unbearable. What kind of red flags? I asked, my voice low and serious. Leslie hesitated, and then she began to recount the little ways in which David's behavior had started to mirror Todd's. The occasional dismissive comment, the subtle attempts at control, the gaslighting when she tried to voice her concerns. As I listened, my anger towards Todd only grew stronger. How dare he treat me? Treat us like that? How dare he try to manipulate and control the people I loved most in this world? Leslie, you need to get out of that relationship, I said firmly. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Don't ignore the warning signs. There was a long pause, and then Leslie spoke again, her voice thick with emotion. You're right, Kylie. I can't let myself be blindsided again, not after everything you've been through. In that moment, I knew what I had to do. Todd had hurt me in the most profound way imaginable, but he wouldn't get away with it, not this time. Leslie, I need your help, I said, my voice steely with determination. I'm going to take Todd down, and I want you by my side. There was no hesitation this time. Whatever you need, Kylie. I'm with you, 100%. As we began to lay out our plans for revenge, a sense of purpose washed over me. Todd had made a grave mistake in underestimating the strength of our friendship, and he was going to pay dearly for it. The tide was turning, and this time, I was the one holding all the cards. With Leslie's help, I began to piece together a clearer picture of Todd's manipulation and deceit. It turned out that his affair with Emily was just the tip of the iceberg. He had been emotionally and financially abusive towards me for years, slowly chipping away at my self-worth and independence. As Leslie recounted her own experiences with David, she realized that he had been exhibiting similar patterns of behavior, ones that she had initially brushed off or rationalized away. But now, with the benefit of hindsight and my perspective, the truth became painfully clear. I can't believe I almost let myself fall into that trap again, Leslie said, her voice trembling with a mixture of anger and relief. If you hadn't been there to open my eyes, Kylie, I don't know where I'd be right now. I reached across the table and squeezed her hand. That's what friends are for. We've got each other's backs, no matter what. A steely determination settled over us as we began to formulate our plan. We knew that taking down Todd wouldn't be easy. He was a master manipulator, and he had a way of twisting the truth to suit his own agenda. But we also knew that we had something he didn't: each other. We need evidence, Leslie said, her brow furrowed in thought, concrete proof of his misdeeds that he can't talk his way out of. I nodded, already formulating a plan. I'll hire a private investigator to dig into his financial records, his dealings at work, anything that could be used against him. Leslie's eyes lit up. And I can continue to play dumb with David, feed his ego, and make him think he's got me wrapped around his finger. That way, he'll let his guard down and reveal more of his true colors. A slow smile spread across my face. It's perfect. We'll gather all the evidence we need, and then we'll strike when he least expects it. Over the next few weeks, our plan fell into motion. The private investigator uncovered a trail of financial misconduct and shady business dealings that would have been enough to ruin Todd's career and reputation on their own. And Leslie, bless her heart, played the role of the doting, clueless girlfriend to perfection, all the while secretly documenting David's increasingly toxic behavior. As the pieces fell into place, a sense of grim satisfaction washed over me. Todd had always underestimated the bond between Leslie and me, thinking that he could pit us against each other or manipulate us into submission. But he was wrong. Our friendship was stronger than his lies, our determination more powerful than his deception. And soon, he would learn that lesson the hard way. As Leslie and I pored over the evidence we had gathered against Todd and David, a sense of grim determination settled over us. We knew that taking them down wouldn't be easy, but we were ready to do whatever it took to see justice served. That's when Megan, my daughter, got involved. "Mom, what's going on?" she asked, eyes wide with concern. "You and Aunt Leslie have been holed up in here for days, and you both look like you're plotting a heist or something." I exchanged a glance with Leslie, silently debating how much to tell her. In the end, I decided that honesty was the best policy. Megan was an adult, and she deserved to know the truth. "Sit down, honey," I said, gesturing to the couch. "There's something we need to tell you." Over the next hour, Leslie and I laid out the entire sordid tale: Todd's affair, his emotional and financial abuse, and our plan to take him down once and for all. Megan listened intently, her expression shifting from shock to anger as she processed the information. "That son of a bitch," she muttered when we finished, her hands clenched into fists. "How could he do that to you, Mom? To all of us?" I reached out and placed a hand on her arm, offering what little comfort I could. "I know, sweetie. Believe me, I know." Megan took a deep breath, her eyes blazing with determination. Well, count me in. Whatever you need, I'm here to help. A slow smile spread across Leslie's face. Actually, there might be something you can do for us. It turned out that Megan's position as a high-level executive at a major tech company gave her access to resources that could prove invaluable in our quest for revenge. With her help, we were able to dig even deeper into Todd's financial misdeeds, uncovering a web of fraud and corruption that stretched back years. This is bigger than we thought, Megan said grimly, scrolling through the damning evidence on her laptop. If we play our cards right, we could not only ruin his reputation, but also have him facing criminal charges. A sense of vindictive satisfaction washed over me. After everything Todd had put us through, the idea of seeing him face real consequences for his actions was almost too good to be true. Almost. As the three of us put the finishing touches on our plan, I couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and gratitude, not just for the strength and resilience of my daughter and my best friend, but also for the unwavering bond that had carried us through even the darkest of times. Todd had made a grave mistake in underestimating the power of our love and loyalty, and now he was going to pay the ultimate price. The day of reckoning arrived sooner than any of us expected. Todd had scheduled a meeting at his office, no doubt to discuss some shady business deal or another. Little did he know, we had been tipped off, and we had a surprise waiting for him. As Leslie, Megan, and I made our way into the building, I could feel the adrenaline coursing through my veins. This was it, the moment we had been planning for, the moment when Todd would finally face the consequences of his actions. We reached his office, and I took a deep breath before knocking firmly on the door. "Come in," Todd's voice called out, oblivious to the storm that was about to be unleashed. I pushed open the door, and we filed in one by one. Todd's eyes widened in surprise as he took us in, his gaze lingering on Leslie and Megan. "Kylie, what's going on here?" he demanded, his brow furrowed in confusion. I stepped forward, my hands trembling with a potent mix of nerves and anticipation. "We know, Todd. We know everything." His expression hardened, and he opened his mouth to respond, but I cut him off. "Don't bother denying it. We have proof. Proof of your affair, your emotional abuse, your financial misdeeds. It's all right here." I held up a thick manila envelope, stuffed to the brim with damning evidence. Todd's face paled, and he glanced around the room, his eyes darting from one of us to the next. "This is ridiculous," he sputtered. "You can't just barge in here and make these kinds of accusations." "Oh, but we can," Leslie chimed in, her voice dripping with disdain. "And we have. You see, Todd, you made a big mistake underestimating us. You thought you could play us against each other, manipulate us and control us like you always have." Megan stepped forward, her expression steely. "But you were wrong. We're stronger than your lies, stronger than your deceit, and we're not going to let you get away with it anymore." As if on cue, the door opened again, and a pair of security guards entered, flanked by a man in a crisp suit, no doubt a lawyer or a law enforcement officer. "Todd Parker," the man said, his voice grave, "you're under arrest for fraud, embezzlement, and a host of other financial crimes." Todd's eyes widened in panic, and he whirled around to face me, his expression a twisted mask of rage and disbelief. You did this? You're ruining my life." I met his gaze unflinchingly, a sense of profound satisfaction settling over me. "No, Todd, you ruined your own life the moment you decided to betray your family and break the law. This is just the consequences catching up to you." As the security guards moved in to apprehend him, Todd struggled and fought, hurling insults and threats at us. But it was too late. The wheels of justice were already in motion. Outside, a crowd had begun to gather, alerted by the commotion and the presence of the authorities. And as Todd was led out in handcuffs, his expensive suit rumpled, and his face contorted in fury, Megan pulled out her phone and began live-streaming the whole thing. Within minutes, the story had gone viral. Todd's misdeeds and downfall laid bare for the world to see. His reputation was in tatters, his career in ruins, all because he had underestimated the power of 3 determined women who refused to be victims any longer. As I watched him being loaded into the back of a police car, a profound sense of closure washed over me. The nightmare was finally over, and justice had been served. And for the first time in a long time, I felt truly free. In the aftermath of Todd's dramatic downfall, life as we knew it changed completely. The criminal charges and financial repercussions left him practically destitute, his once lavish lifestyle reduced to a mere shadow of its former self. As for me, Leslie, and Megan, a profound sense of relief and vindication washed over us. We had taken our power back, refusing to be victims of Todd's manipulation and lies any longer. And in the process, we had forged an unbreakable bond that would carry us through whatever challenges life threw our way. It was during this time that Leslie approached me with an idea, one that would not only help us move forward, but also allow us to reclaim our passions and dreams. "Kylie, do you remember how you always wanted to be an architect?" she asked one day over coffee. I nodded, a wistful smile tugging at my lips. "Of course, but that was a long time ago before." My voice trailed off, the painful memories of sacrificing my ambitions for Todd still raw. Leslie reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "Well, why don't you go back to school? It's never too late to chase your dreams." At first, the idea seemed preposterous. I was in my mid-40s, with a lifetime of baggage and responsibilities weighing me down. How could I possibly start over now? But then I remembered the strength and determination that had carried us through our ordeal with Todd. If we could take down a man like that, surely I could find the courage to pursue my long-abandoned passion. "You know what? You're right," I said, a sense of excitement bubbling up within me. "I'm going to do it. I'm going to become an architect, just like I always wanted." Leslie's face split into a wide grin, her eyes shining with pride. "That's my girl. And you know what? I have an idea that could help us both." It turned out that Leslie had always harbored a love for interior design, a passion that had been stifled by her own toxic relationship with David. Together, we hatched a plan to start our own firm, combining my architectural skills with her eye for design. With Megan's help and support, we navigated the bureaucratic hurdles and secured the necessary licenses and permits. Before we knew it, our dream had become a reality. A thriving business built on the foundation of our unwavering friendship and resilience. As the months passed, our client list grew, and our reputation for excellence spread like wildfire. We poured our hearts and souls into every project, infusing each design with a piece of ourselves. The strength we had found in our darkest moments, the determination to create something beautiful from the ashes of our pain. And through it all, we never lost sight of the lessons we had learned from our ordeal with Todd. We knew the value of loyalty, of trust, and of never underestimating the power of a few committed individuals to change the course of their lives. As for Todd, his fate was sealed, a cautionary tale of what happens when greed and ego consume a person's soul. He faded into obscurity, left to grapple with the consequences of his actions while we soared to new heights, unburdened by his toxic presence. In the end, our story was one of redemption, of finding the courage to chase our dreams and build a life on our own terms. And as I looked around at the incredible women who had become my family, I knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, we would face them together, stronger, wiser, and infinitely more resilient than before.